One of my all-time favorite picture books is called The Relatives Came by Cynthia Rylant. It is illustrated by Stephen Gamel, and it is a Caldecott Honor Book winner. The book is about a group of relatives that leave their home in Virginia to go visit family. The book goes into detail of the antics that the family gets themselves into on their drive there, and all the fun that they get into while visiting with family over the summer. My Jackdaw items are as follows. One item that I included in my Jackdaw is the map of Virginia. The relatives came from their home in Virginia to visit their family, and in the book it talks about how the family, as they traveled, went up and down over many mountains. And so I found a map that showed the mountains of Virginia, and on these mountains they saw funny little houses on their way, and it mentioned those in the book. So a map of Virginia. Virginia is one of the things I've included. Another thing I included is a box of crackers. As we would all do on a long trip, the family packed a bunch of snacks to take away their hunger on their long trip to visit family. So one of those that was mentioned in the book was crackers, and they not only brought crackers, but they also had bologna sandwiches and soda pop that they put in their ice chest. But the crackers were mentioned more than once, and the fact that they had more than one box of crackers that they brought on their trip. And by the time that the relatives made it to the home to visit their family, the many boxes that they had brought of crackers were depleted. So it kind of tells the amount of time that they had to travel to visit their family. So a box of crackers. Another item that I included in my project is a bag of hugs. Hershey hugs were not mentioned in the book, but I'm using it as a representation. When the family arrived, where the relatives arrived and saw the rest of their family, it was mentioned that it was like hugging time. The relatives got out of the car, and the front lawn, the relatives, gave hugs to their family, and they all met up with each other and gave each other hugs. And as the book goes on, it says that they couldn't get through the front door without getting a hug from many relatives. And so I included the hugs as a representation of all the hugs and time that they spent together as a family during the book. So hugs for all the family members and the hugs that they gave. Another item that I included was a calendar, and I marked off days in the month of August, just because it was a summer month that they all visited, and they had multiple weeks. They were there for weeks and weeks, and sometimes when we visit family, it's only for a short amount of time. And in this book, they're there for multiple weeks and get to share with those family members that time. So many weeks marked off on a calendar to represent the time that they met with one another. Another thing that I included in my project is a bag of grapes. Grapes were a key item in this story. When the relatives left their home in Virginia, they said that their grapes were of light purple color, meaning that they weren't ready to be picked. So the family grew their own grapes, and a way to tell what time it was in the summer was by the color of their grapes. So when they left, the grapes were of light purple color and not ripe enough for them to pick. So it was a perfect timing for them to visit their family because their grapes were not ready for them to be picked. So by the end of the story, when the relatives are heading back home to Virginia, they say that they couldn't wait to see their grapes, which would be by that time of dark purple color. So I got a bag of grapes from the grocery store, which were ripe enough to eat. So just like their grapes that they would come back to Virginia to, here's a bag of grapes. The last thing that I have included in my Jackdaw is a Hot Wheel of a station wagon. The station wagon in the book is almost like a character itself. The family goes in the station wagon to travel through the mountains of Virginia to visit their family. The station wagon is no normal station wagon. It's a multicolor, reds and yellows and greens that the family all packs in, and kind of reminds me of a clown car as they all get out once they get to their family's house. They stashed all their suitcases and things at the top, and you see suitcases flying off, and you see the car itself hitting mailboxes and fences and things like that. So it kind of takes on its own characteristics, just like the characters in the book do. So it's kind of fun to watch the car travel through the mountains and become that item that you looked for throughout the book. So the last item is definitely the station wagon. I put all my items for my Jackdaw in a suitcase, a mini suitcase, representing the mini suitcases that the relatives piled on top of the roof of their car as they travel to visit family. And it's just one of those books that reminds me of the times when my family comes from all over Ohio, and we get together and do fun things together, and spend that quality time with family that we at times don't get to see very often. So the book, The Relatives Came, great book, and I hope you enjoyed this Jackdaw. Thanks.